You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. And now it's time for another edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam with your host, the Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Magic Voice of the 12th Man Fan Jam. It is indeed I, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity, and thank you all so much for making us part of your Seahawk pregame tradition. This is the 12th Man Fan Jam show where we try our best to quench your Seahawk fix for about an hour, so don't forget to ram it, and remember, we got to slow clap it out. Joining myself this week is a President of Entertainment unwrapped for you for your listening pleasure. The Positivity panel is geared up and ready to take on another exciting week of Seahawk football. There is our version of the New York Times, our news hound. His 12th Man editorial can be found weekly on SeahawksOut.com. He is never bad. His name is Will.
Good evening, folks. Or morning, depending on when you listen to it.
And Will's ready to ram it. Also joining us...
I beg your pardon.
We'll talk about that later. Also joining us is our accountant of stats. He is our Rambo behind enemy lines in the sunny state of California. He is our Statsman Mark.
Hello, everybody. This is Mark reporting from a county where Kaepernicking is still trendy. So it's kind of...
it show just went through us. And tonight we are joined by two fabulous Seahawk fans. Double the pleasure, double the fun. First, she is the face painter of King Street Bar and Grill. She puts the bad mama. A 2013 Fans Hall of Fame inductee. You know her as Hawkychick. We know her as Laura.
Hi.
Yay!
Oh, hey. Happy to be here. Excited.
We're glad to have you.
Hockey to be here, yes.
Hockey to be here. And also a man that needs no introduction, so we won't give him one.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
No, I'm just kidding. A guy who can see alongside his new bride and telling corny jokes. A 2004 Hall of Fame inductee. You know him as Cannonball. We all know him as Brad.
Very pleasure. Of all the webcasts we've been on, this is one of them.
That's the truth.
Yes.
This is indeed one of them. Now,
Yes.
Brad and Laura have more than just a love of Seahawks. In fact, this past October, they were married in a wedding that was a Seahawk fan's dream. Brad, would you care to discuss this with everyone?
Okay, well, it was actually on November 15th.
Oh, see, it was really late October.
Exactly. Well, there is a time difference in Indiana, so that's understandable. But no, 15th of November, we tied the knot after being very good friends for how many years? 12 years. Thank you very much. It's all ironic and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And how did you propose to her, and where did you propose to her?
Well, let's just say that I wanted to make sure I used all the home field advantage I could possibly use. So I pulled a couple of strings and proposed to her right on the 50-yard line of the CenturyLink Field.
Oh, fantastic.
Right on the hawk.
That was wonderful, wonderful. And the pictures are fantastic as well. Your wedding was, of course, surprise, in Seahawk colors.
Oh, absolutely.
It was wonderful. I know. I believe Will was Will in attendance. I believe.
Yes, I was. I still have the glass in my car from that wedding.
So
It was a giveaway. I didn't steal it.
A football glass, that is.
Oh, of course.
Clarify that.
We've been looking for that.
Yeah. We only had 160 of them, so.
Talk to Neil. He's got a crate full.
I believe that. Well, listen, I know everyone's anxious to get back to talking about football, and we're going to have a special halftime where we're going to talk with Brad and Laura and see how well they really know each other. We're going to have our own version of the Newlywed Game coming up. But before we do that, we want to tell you how this show is formatted. If it's the first time you've decided to waste an hour or two of your time listening to us, the 12th Man Fan Jam is broken down into 4 quarters and 2 2-minute warnings, just like a real NFL game. In the first quarter, we're going to hear from Shadowhawk Will and all the news that you may have missed last couple of weeks with all the hustle and bustle of the holiday season. Quarter 2 is going to be spent with the good, bad, and ugly review from last week's 17-10 defeat at the hand of Arizona Cardinals. We'll make that as quick and painless as possible. Then at halftime, we have a special Seahawks edition of the Newlywed Game featuring our guests, Brad and Laura. So you won't want to miss that. The third quarter will be spent with our Statsman Mark analyzing stats for the upcoming game. And finally, we'll wrap up the fourth quarter, and that'll be spent giving our predictions, our prognostications for the upcoming game between your Seattle Seahawks and the St. Louis Rams. And as you listen, we'd like to remind you that we would love to hear from you. We love email. It's like a late Christmas present for all of us. And the email is on your screen right now. So please drop us a line or two. Say hi. We like email. Just stop by and say, hey, your show sucks, or we really like you, or whatever you want to say. We'll take it all in stride. But while we're taking it all in stride, we'll go ahead and kick off the first quarter with news. Yes, with news of the NFL world that you may have missed because you were too busy trying to dodge all of your relatives during the Christmas season. Here is our news hound, the Shadow Hawk Nose, Will. Will, what you got for us this evening?
Well, Moses, it's usually not a good thing when a player's agent starts making news. This really isn't an exception. Raiders quarterback Terrell Pryor has been named starting quarterback for Oakland's ultimately pointless final game of the season next week. His agent, you would think would be happy, was not. His agent's name is Jerome Stanley. He said, quote, I think they're putting him in hopes that he fails. That's what I think coach is doing. I think they're putting him in hopes that he has a bad game so that he can then justify the Matt McGlowan situation. I think that's what's going on. I do, and it's ridiculous. He continued, I expect Terrell Pryor to be a successful starting quarterback in the NFL. Terrell Pryor is the best and most dynamic athlete in the NFL playing the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. It's not brain surgery. His coach stumbled upon a gem, the find of the season in Terrell Pryor. He stumbled upon him, and then he botched the discovery. It was ridiculous. So now we know what Walter Thurman did with all his leftover weed.
Well, you know, it's funny you bring that up because I believe every once in a while, I know Brad and Laura don't know this, but Michael Sweet is the NFL beat writer. He's the one that Michael Silver. He's made a couple mistakes, like I did. But Michael Silver is this guy from NFL Network, and he every once in a while makes these tweets, and we're not sure. They come from unnamed sources. We're just not sure they're true. And I think I just happened along the lines of your story there. I think I've got a tweet right here from Michael Silver. Accordingly, an unnamed source has told Michael Silver that Jerry Jones is now seeking a trade for Terrell Pryor. So there you go. Terrell Pryor to be a Cowboy. You did not know that.
Jerry Jones never does anything wrong. Just ask him.
No, he doesn't. He's the best in the business. Just ask him yourself. Brad, how do you feel about Terrell Pryor's agent? Is that the kind of agent you want if you're playing football? Don't play him.
He can make me $1 million to do nothing. That's the American dream right there, isn't it?
Don't play. Can you see that agent going in and complaining because his player's getting playing time? Why are you giving my player playing time? That's just wrong on so many levels. Apparently not that wrong. Mark, would you agree with this? Do you think that agents should lobby for their players not to play in meaningless games?
Well, yeah, I had heard that news story, and I was just laughing. Again, because I live amongst that fan base as well, out here in the Bay Area, California. So, I don't know. It's a typical gloom season for Oakland, and at this point, I almost feel sorry for him. It's just it's strange. They've been bad for so long now.
They have.
It's like I feel like Captain Kirk having compassion for the Klingons. They were a hated enemy, and now you can't help but feel a little sorry for him. So there's my Star Trek analogy.
I don't know about that. I feel sorry. I don't feel sorry for him. Laura, do you feel sorry for the Raiders?
No.
There you go. That's what I'm thinking.
I feel sorry for Mark having to put up with Raider fans and Niner fans.
I know. He's surrounded up by all sides, the poor guy.
Yeah. It's a odd mixture of conceitedness and felons. It's a weird
Carry the concealed weapons. What else you got for us, Will?
Well, do you guys remember several months ago, it was a fairly big story. Former Bucs quarterback Josh Freeman was released and signed with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep.
Got a start on Monday Night Football. People were wondering, could they have finally found their quarterback? No. Since that rather putrid game on Monday Night Football, Freeman has not played all season, and he is not going to play in the season finale. The Vikings have announced that Matt Castle, and, you can't stop Matt Castle. You can only hope to contain him. Castle will be starting for the finale against the Lions on Sunday. Christian Ponder will be the backup, and Freeman will be inactive. So the Vikings spent $2 million to bring Freeman over and got nothing for him.
Well, Leslie Frazier himself is going to be inactive here permanently.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have to wait long to hear that news.
That may happen.
So you're telling me that at the end of the year he'll be a free man?
In a way, sure. He'll be an unemployed Freeman.
Oh my God!
Well, he certainly didn't come free.
Yeah.
Well, in related news, Michael Silver is now tweeting that Jerry Jones is on the phone to Josh Freeman. It's happening, folks. Jerry's busy tonight. Michael Silver must have a line to Jerry Jones or something. I don't know.
Or Jerry Jones is doing some lines, one of the two.
Well, that could
Probably
be
both, actually.
That's probably both happening there. That's too bad about Josh Freeman, I guess, if anyone really cared about an overblown, high-pick quarterback hasn't done anything in the NFL. But I guess I felt sorry for Josh Freeman. Anybody else feel sorry for Josh Freeman? Nah, me either. Okay.
No.
For a second,
I'm just wondering why they bring him in and only play him once. I mean, at this point, what do you have to lose besides your job, which you've already lost?
Well, and he wasn't a charmer down in Tampa Bay. Remember, you had talked about him not showing up for the team picture, and then not coming to the practices, and kind of in the doghouse down there. So maybe it's just kind of followed him up to Minnesota.
It could be.
Maybe the guy's a jerk. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not saying he's a jerk. I'm just saying you don't know.
all I know is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers look really good with Napoleon Dynamite under center.
They do, don't they? Oh, my God.
Vote for Pedro.
I threw the ball. God.
Gosh.
Catch the ball. I do pretty good Napoleon Dynamite.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Pick on the poor guy now. Be nice.
I know. I'm sorry.
Richard Sherman can pick on him too, though.
Stop.
Yeah, Richard Sherman can pick on him all day long. Yeah.
Will, what's your final story for the evening?
Well, it actually involves a former Seahawk. Even if he was only on the team for 1 year, it was fairly memorable. Brandon Stokely, who went from Seattle to Denver and then to Baltimore, has announced that his 15-year career will come to an end after this season. He's announced his retirement, and he is actually retiring with an NFL record of sorts. There have been 18 men who have played receiver in the NFL for at least 15 years. Brandon Stokely has fewer catches than any of them.
Woohoo!
Finishes his career with 397 receptions, which is 160 catches behind the second fewest, which was Troy Brown. So, hey, you got to make your mark somehow.
That's right.
Hernandez finished with a record too, so.
I thought he was always the smartest guy on the field. I don't know how you guys felt about it when he was in Seattle, especially. But it seemed like if it was 3rd and 15, he'd go 16 yards out and find a soft spot in the zone and just sit and wait for a catch. He just seemed to be the smartest guy on the field. I don't know.
And he still had wheels. I mean, he had that long touchdown catch in the wild card game against the Saints.
Yep. That's right. And that only 15-year career, that's amazing. I feel like he's been playing for about 25 years. But apparently it's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, old man walking, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. But I always thought, man, he was the smartest guy on the field. I don't know, Brad. What was your takes on Stokely? Are you going to cry that he's gone?
Well, I think I miss Joe Jurevicius just a little bit more.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
me too. How can you not miss JJ?
So that's only 20-something catches a season, 15 years, and would that be, am I doing my math right?
Yeah, about 25, something like that.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Seems like he was a lot more productive than that.
I know. It does seem that way.
That's what I was thinking, too.
I know him and Manny were close. I know they were buddies. But he had a great 1 year for us. I mean, he was clutch for us, I felt like.
Yeah, and, considering that Mike Williams flamed out, I wish we had kept Stokely the next year.
Yeah, definitely. But even back then, I thought he was like 40 years old, and he's still playing. He keep going and going and going.
Where how much more? Which jersey costs more, a Matt Flynn or a Mike Williams?
Well, both are on sale at the Pro Shop for 40% off.
Well, so you can get the Flynn and you can put Curse on it.
We're already working on that.
Yeah. Just cut out the Flynn part and put Curse on it.
Can't get the
plate
off the back. Glued on.
Yeah.
You just get some duct tape put on there.
Duct tape works.
Duct tape works everything.
Yes.
Duct tape's for everything.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
And speaking of everything, I believe that is the end of the first quarter. So thank you, Will, once again for 3 entertaining stories to get us started.
Anytime.
We're going to take a quick station identification, and we will be back with the start of the second quarter where we review what we did and didn't do against the Cardinals last week with the good, the bad, and the ugly.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
It's rubbish. Everybody knows that. Rubbish. They're rubbish. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
And now it's time for the second quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam. In the second quarter, we will be discussing the good, we will be discussing the bad, and we will be discussing the ugly of last week's game. Here to take you through the second quarter is once again our host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Thank you once again, Magic Voice of the 12th Man Fan Jam. This is the second quarter, and we're going to review last week's game, the 17-10 loss at home against the Arizona Cardinals.
Ooh.
Almost 2 years exactly to the day of their last home loss, which was to the 49ers, 19-17.
I didn't miss it.
Yeah, but we have to go through this real quick, and we'll make this quick and painless as possible and get right to halftime and have some fun with the newlyweds here. But we're going to do the good, bad, and the ugly. The first part is we're going to do the good, and that'll be me, Mr. Positivity, having to find good out of the bad. And I did this because Will made fun of us the other week because Will said that every time we won, he had the bad, and every time they lost, he had the good. So I'm taking the bullet tonight. And the good I'm going to talk about is basically the fact that as bad as that game was, and we'll be talking about that, I'm sure, here in a minute, there were a lot of errors. There were a lot of mistakes. It was kind of slow. They looked sluggish. For whatever reason, when it came down to the final drive of the game, Seattle was still in that game. It was 17-10. It wasn't 34-10. It was 17-10, and they still had a chance to win that game. I thought that overall, look, Arizona played very well, but when we woke up the next morning, we were still in first place. We still had home field advantage. We still had a chance to wrap this thing up. We just didn't do it against a very good team that was playing like their backs were against the wall. So I give them a lot of credit because they played very well. But the good for me is the fact that it was a close game in the fourth quarter, and we still had a chance to win this game. So I don't know if I'm missing anything there, Brad. Is there any other good that came from that game that you saw?
Our defense still looked really good.
Absolutely.
Sherman, 2 picks. Sherman always, he certainly had a great game.
Yes, he did. He sure did. And the defense played fantastic. You're right. That's a great point. They really played well.
They made the game plan to fit to their opponent this time. I think they were counting on playing the Arizona Cardinals they played a few weeks ago down in Arizona, which they dominated. Mm-hmm. And they tried to really just run on these guys, not realizing they were the number one defense in the NFL. And they tried to stick to that game plan, and they just didn't make their halftime adjustments like they usually do.
I totally agree with that. I think that's a great point, Brad. And it just seemed like this was the team that I was a little afraid because the team that we played, like you said, the team we played beginning of the year clearly was not this team from Arizona that came and played us. They're so proclaiming themselves the hottest team in the NFL, and I can't really argue too much with them because they're playing pretty darn good ball right now.
Let them show it next week against San Francisco.
Please.
Yeah, there we go.
Any other goods, guys, before we move on to the bad and the ugly?
Yeah, Sherman's, how many picks did Sherman get?
2.
8 for the year.
8 for the year.
The season.
4 INTs overall by the entire team, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Maxwell looked well too. Maxwell had a good game. He, despite that touchdown,
exactly.
When you see he was right there.
Exactly. Oh yes,
that was just I shouldn't say lucky catch. It was just a really good catch.
It really was, and I had absolutely no complaints when he caught that ball because Maxwell had him covered. Maxwell made a play on the ball. That guy just made a fantastic play on that ball, and I couldn't complain about Maxwell's play on that catch at all. I agree.
No, that was Earl Thomas's point too. He was saying afterwards, it's like, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to make a play that's spectacular to do it. And unfortunately, they did. But not everybody's going to be able to.
Absolutely right. What about the bad, Will?
Oh, gee, was there anything bad in this game? Oh, wait, all of it. No, actually, what's been frustrating me, and it's a lot of people remarked on it. It's just our inability to do anything on third downs. I think we're like 5 out of 26 for the last 2 weeks combined. We only converted 2 third downs on Sunday, only one of which was longer than 5 yards. And, we had 11 possessions, something like that. I mean, you can't win if you can't drive the ball down the field.
Yep,
and I don't know why we're having such a problem all of a sudden, but that's something we got to do better at. Starting now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they have a great defense too. The Cardinals do, and they really came to play. And I got to hand it to them. They played very well. But
they have a great defense, and I think they had a little something to prove after getting thumped here 58-0 last year. But we made them look like the '85 Bears defense.
Right. I agree. Mark, you got a bad. that we haven't talked about before we get to your ugly?
Oh, wow. They're almost interchangeable, aren't they?
Yes.
Well, it's a prevailing bad for this team, and that is penalties.
Yep.
And I think we were at double digits again. Was it 10? 10 for around 100?
I got 9 for 102.
Yeah, 9 for 102. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, that's been a bad trend all year. So I guess there's no indication it's going to stop. And yet, we're doing so well that I guess it's not making team headlines, excuse me, per se. But still, and really, I don't know how many of those. Really, the one that gets me is first downs from penalties directly.
Yeah.
Those just drive you nuts, especially on third down.
Yeah. Well, I know 1 or 2 we could have come off the field, and then there was a penalty result in the first down, and that was pretty bad. I agree with that. Let's not dwell too much more. How about Mark? What do you got for ugly?
Well, there's a lot to choose from, unfortunately. First and foremost, I got to say, Moses, while I'm a likable enough guy on this show, I have to tell everybody that my in-game texts to Moses on game day sometimes are a bit rough, and among those, because usually it's good mojo, it's good luck when I text back and forth with Moses during the game. But this game was so frustrating that at one point I texted him, WTF, what the, and I go, we've only gotten, our play is, crap, and or a harsher term for that, and then it's like we got 3 points, I think, off of all those turnovers.
Yeah, that was the ugliest thing. I think with all those turnovers, only getting 3 points off those turnovers was, I thought, the ugliest part of the game as well. Brad, what was the ugliest part of the game we saw?
Well, I think that Doug Baldwin, is just way too strong, for one thing. To be able to lay on the ground and have a ball just like hit him in the forearm and then fly 20 yards backwards. I mean, I think
he's made a flubber.
He needs to stop working out because he's just too masculine.
Well, he did get drug tested this week about that too.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. His tweet was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
We were talking about it like hours before I saw it. I'm like, yeah, exactly. That ball can't bounce that high up in the forearm. But we can't blame refs. I mean, we can't.
Exactly. I guess he
We
has
can't blame refs
forearms.
every week, but
He has forearms made out of field turf now. So
if you touch them, a bunch of little stuff, you can flake them off.
Yeah,
A little bit,
exactly.
yeah, that was pretty ugly. Russell Wilson, I don't want to say ugly,
it
but
was.
wow, this was the first game where we all kind of went, oh, Russell looked a little bit out of sorts in this game.
Yeah,
Agreed.
but you get that one call back, which we know that the refs didn't get it right,
Right.
and who knows how it would have turned out. But there again, you're at home against a opponent which you should be dominating.
Yep.
You shouldn't be in that position in the first place. So
Exactly, and we're a little spoiled, and I wouldn't say that he was totally lost out there, but and we are spoiled. It's the first time I've really seen a team really frustrate him to the level that he just didn't look like Russell Wilson. But
Yeah.
we're spoiled.
Yeah, and the offense, contributed too to the fact that our defense was on the field for over 37 minutes. So our offense had the ball for 22 minutes and change.
And they held them down, and they did defense did a fantastic job. They really played well.
I mean,
Yeah, and I've seen some people criticize our defense for allowing the touchdown on that last drive. It's like, what do you want? What more do you want from them? Okay,
Yeah.
they did their part. Just they didn't get any help.
No, they really did in this game. But the thing about this team is, I've said this, with the defense and the running, we can do a 17-10 game, or we can do a 37-40 game. We can kind of adjust. And like I said, it was 17-10. It wasn't 34-10. Some people are talking like, as much as they dominated us, that they should have scored way more points than they did. And it should have been a blowout, and it wasn't. I mean, our defense held up.
Good defense.
Hmm?
We still have a great defense.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Foundation to build on for this Sunday.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Holy shit, it's a 2-minute warning.
And now we're at the 2-minute warning. So real quick, we're going to go through our predictions, our prognostications, and Brad's going to love this part.
Oh boy.
There's a section called Which is Bigger, which you'll get to take part of in the fourth quarter, but
Thanks. Okay.
you're going to love that part. Our predictions are up on the screen right now. Of course, we all picked the Seahawks to win. 31-13, I said. Matt said 38-14. Will 24-13. Mark 31-16. Scott, we all thought double digits. And it just didn't happen. So hopefully when we make our predictions this week, they'll be a little bit more accurate. The prognostications, I hate to dwell on a loss as much as I'm going to dwell on this prognostication, but for the first time since we started this show a few weeks ago, one of us actually hit it right on the nose. Scott had said Russell Wilson would get 3 touchdowns, and he got 1. Mark said that Tate would get 2 touchdowns, and he had none. Will said Pierre would give up no sacks, and Will, I don't know if that's accurate or not because there were 4 sacks.
Well, yeah, he didn't give up any sacks. Okay, he didn't play, but come on.
You know, I could almost give that to you because you're right. He didn't give up any sacks. He didn't play, but he didn't give up any sacks. Matt had said Red Bryant will get a touchdown return, and he didn't. But for the first time in the show, we actually have someone hit it on the button, and that was me. I called for Carson Palmer to have 4 interceptions.
Yes.
And guess what? Carson Palmer got 4 interceptions. So the kids are here, and the kids love it when I do something right. It's so rare. Thanks, kids, because it's so rare for that to actually happen.
Well,
I hate that it was
always picking off me.
I kept and Matt and Mark will validate this as it was due. Every time it happened, I go, one more. There's 3. There's 4. So I was getting more excited than anything. But unfortunately, they only got 3 points off of those. So I won't dwell too much on it because if it was a win, I'd be a lot happier. But
at least you had something to get excited about.
Something to get excited about, yes. And of course, last week's which was bigger? Was it going to be the Cardinal penalties or the Seahawk penalties? And Matt had said that the Seahawks would have more penalties, and I think everyone else said the Cardinals would have more penalties, and the Seahawks did have more penalties, 9 penalties. Arizona had 7 penalties. So Seattle was bigger in this case. We're going to have a much more positive kind of which is bigger this week, I promise you. So,
Holy shit, it's halftime.
that being said, we will head to halftime. We have a very special Newlywed Game show coming up with our newlyweds, Laura and Brad, at halftime, a live Newlywed show. And we'll be doing that here in a minute. We'll take a quick break, and we'll break for station identification, and we will come right back with the Newlywed Game.
Hi, I'm Mosette, Moses' daughter, and when he's not telling me to clean my room, he's on the 12-man fan jam.
Mosette, come here, clean your room.
Call me Dad. Holy shit.
Yes, live from Positivity Productions. It is the Seahawk Newlywed Game, starring your host, the Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity. Just to see how well Brad and Laura know each other, we gave them 3 questions over the week under top secret conditions, under a sealed envelope with a certain combination, and we're told to answer secretly, or they would be found and forced to Kaepernick the rest of the week. So, we do not want that.
No, absolutely.
So, we have 3 questions that I just asked each of them, and now the other one will see how well they know each other. For example, Brad was asked 3 questions, top secret questions, and now Laura will try to answer those questions thinking this is what Brad would say.
Okay.
All right, you ready? Are you nervous?
A little bit.
Yeah, you're playing for a lot here. You're playing for prizes.
I'm really nervous right now. I'll be okay. Okay.
You have a tiebreaker too if you guys both get them all right. But
okay.
Here we go. Okay, number 1. I asked Brad who his favorite non-Seahawk NFL player was. Who was Brad's favorite non-Seahawk NFL player?
That would be the former Ravens. Oh my God, his name just went blank in my head. Hold on, I know who it is. Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis. The answer is Ray Lewis.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Thank you. God, I can't believe his name drew blank in my head for a minute.
Just don't forget my name.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay.
Ray Lewis, you got 1 point. Congratulations.
Yep.
Now we go to question 2.
Okay.
What is Brad's favorite Seahawk football moment?
His favorite Seahawk football moment. Ooh. Favorite Seahawk football moment. Ooh. God, there's a lot. His favorite Seahawk moment. Man,
It's only an hour show, honey.
Okay. It's weird. I don't know. I don't even.
No, we can edit this down. Don't worry.
Talked about favorite Seahawk moments. Winning the NFC Championship game.
Winning the
That's the only thing I can think of.
And Brad said his moment was the 2005 NFC Championship game.
Yes! Woo!
You have two. And now your third question. I asked Brad to finish this sentence. If my spouse played football, I think the position she's best suited for is what? If my spouse played football, I think the position they would play would be what?
Tight end?
Brad said, tight end!
Definitely not wide receiver.
The kids, definitely not wide receiver. The kids love it. Laura comes out with a perfect score. So now, Brad, the pressure's really on. Are you nervous?
It's really on. Okay.
Are you nervous, Brad?
I am as nervous as a frog on the freeway with my hopper basket.
That's nervous.
I'm nervous as a hotel cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Anyway.
You're as nervous as we won't go there. Okay. Here's your first question.
Making a Beats by Dre commercial.
Yeah. Yeah. I go to the bathroom. Where's that bus? Anyway.
All right. Laura was asked 3 questions as well. And her first question, Brad, is what's your favorite number besides 12?
7.
No, mine.
Oh, mine?
Or not your number. My favorite number. I think you know your own.
What's Laura's favorite number besides 12? And she said her favorite number besides 12 is?
89.
89. And the answer, do you remember what you said?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. The answer is actually 45.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
I was thinking, he probably would think 89 too. I almost said that just because that's what he would probably think. Just because I'm a Doug Baldwin fan, so.
Oh, yeah.
Really? Okay. All right, so she wins. We can quit now?
You quit. It's over. Thanks. Let's keep. Why not? We got 2 more questions. Let's get through. I asked her to finish this sentence. The one NFL city that she's never been to that she'd love to visit is?
Okay, I've got 2 in my head now.
But you can only have 1.
I know. She wanted to go to one place last year and ended up being on a holiday. So I'm going to have to go with Miami.
And she says, Miami. She does say Miami.
Okay.
And who
was the other place?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Oh, yeah. Okay, no, that's true too. Yeah.
Oh, very good. And finally, Laura was asked, if I was an NFL referee, I would have to most often penalize my spouse for what NFL penalty?
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
Wow. Personal fouls.
Oh, personal fouls. And Laura said, illegal use of the hands. Oh!
Yeah, I was trying to grab. Okay.
So our final score is Laura 3.
That's better.
Brad 1.
All right, well, I'm number 1.
So, what did we learn tonight? We learned that Laura knows Brad twice more than Brad knows her.
What was your name again?
That's okay, because Laura's getting special gifts chosen especially for her. Yes, it's the 12th Man Fan Jam home game. I'll be sending you a broken headset that you can act like you plug into your phone and listen to our show and talk along with it. That's right. The 12th Man Fan Jam board game, because I have a lot of broken headsets and don't know what to do with them. This has been your host, not Chuck Eubanks, but Dennis Nippenberg Moses himself. Blowing you all a kiss and telling the Rams that they can kiss themselves where the sun doesn't shine. We'll be back with the start of the third quarter after this.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Merry New Year!
Happy New Year. In this country, we say Happy New Year.
Thank you for correcting my English, which stinks.
He's the Statsman. He's the Statsman. And here's our very own Statman. Here's Mark.
To every kickoff, let's slow clap it out.
Yeah, slow clapping it out with the Rams. That's what we're doing in the third quarter with our stats man, Mark. Mark, are you slow clapping those injuries and stats out for us tonight?
I'm just slow clapping and slow moving, it seems, at this point. Wow. That's incredible that the Rams just, that's like an SNL skit.
It really is. If you have a chance, Ram Rules on YouTube. Look it up. Enjoy yourself. It's a lot of fun.
Starring Ram Man.
Yeah, Ram Man is in there. Ram Man is a great guy. I don't want to knock Ram Man. He's a wonderful guy. But this is a little silly. But
okay, well, now on to something. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Will.
No, Brad, did you say something?
No, I was just talking about Ram Man. We're great friends, and he's a great person, but we interrupt our friendship for about 8 quarters a year. So
yeah, he is a great. I kind of was supposed to meet him up here for Indy, and something fell through, and I couldn't go see him. But we've kind of communicated a little bit, and I can't wait to see him. Hopefully next year down in St. Louis. It won't be a Monday night game, and we can hang out a little bit because he seems like a great guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think somebody blackmailed him to be in that Ram Rules video.
He lost a bet. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Well, you know what they say about that down in St. Louis? They say this. Pretty much. But that's another story. I'm sorry. We were going to do stats.
Yes, which we'll begin with Ram stats, which are only slightly more interesting than clapping it out for that team. So, actually, you know what? The Rams, they're 7-8, I guess, entering this game, and they have been a scrappy bunch. I'll give them that much. Let's see. Offensively, they are ranked 27th in passing, 16th in rushing. They have a pretty good running back, though, in Zach Stacy. Defensively, they are 20th against the pass, 7th against the rush, or against the run. So, let's see, quarterback Kellen Clemens, 1,516 yards, only 7 TDs and 5 interceptions. So I thought he had a little bit more than that. And he's only 57.1% on completions. Let's see, Zach Stacy, 958 yards. So we'll see if we can hold him to under 1,000 for the year. 4.1 a carry, 7 touchdowns. Let's see, a couple of receivers. Jared Cook, 46 catches, 641 yards, 4 TDs. Chris Givens, 34 catches, 569 yards, no touchdowns on the year. And then Tavon Austin, who, as far as we know, we're saying that's that's going to be a game time decision. He's questionable.
Yes.
So I imagine he'll play. So he has 40 catches, 418 yards, 4 touchdowns. He also has a touchdown on a punt return, and he has a rushing TD. So he's kind of their utility guy. And he's awfully quick, even though he's only, 5'5"? I don't know. Anyway.
Something like that. In heels, I think.
He's shorter than RW, that's for sure. So let's see. Defensively, Chris Long, 7.5 sacks. Robert Quinn, I didn't know this, 18 sacks on the season for Robert Quinn.
Leads the NFL.
Yeah, that has to be up there. So if he leads the league, that's it. They got a couple others. A defensive tackle named Michael Brockers, 5.5 sacks. William Hayes, and the name just didn't ring a bell, but 5 sacks for him. As a team, the Rams defense has 49 sacks on the year. Oof. And they've only given up 34. And they have 14 total interceptions as a team, and they have 15 fumbles recovered as a team. And they are plus 10 in the giveaway takeaway.
Wow.
So it's interesting. They have less than they're under 500 for the year, but they're plus 10 on giveaway takeaway. So, So those are the initial stats for the Rams. So you guys have any thoughts on those?
Brad, what do you think is going to be a key to this game coming up against the Rams?
Key to this game? Well, of course, the old cliche, you establish the run. You're not facing the number 1 rush defense this week. You're facing the number 7. Mm-hmm. So, you get the offensive line going and you play these blocking schemes. And you should be able to get Marshawn pushing the rock pretty much. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, getting Russell outside the pocket more. It just seemed like to me, like you said last week, Russell was not himself last week. So, you get Russell into some of these situations where he can move around a little bit and make some things happen with his legs as well as his arm. And that adds up to a big W on the Seahawks side of the scoreboard and a number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs.
Sounds good. Laura, are you scared about this game? The Rams? Anything that Mark said kind of scare you stats wise?
I don't know. The Rams always make me a little bit nervous. They always play us tough.
Yep.
God, we squeaked by that last win, so it's like pretty scary there. And even the last time we played them at home, wasn't that kind of scary? Like, but wait a minute, you guys, what the heck? Come on, Rams, what the heck? Yeah. So I'm always a little bit nervous.
I equate that last drive they made in St. Louis to like a Pete Carroll and Jeff Fisher playing a game of chicken. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty. I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
I can understand. Moses?
Yes, sir.
Moses, sorry to interrupt, but it's that time again. I'm getting a tweet from Michael Silver.
Oh, Michael Silver tweet coming in.
According to Michael Silver's unnamed sources in the UFC, Percy Harvin's recent hip soreness was not due to his play in the Vikings game, but due to an audition for the mixed martial arts series The Ultimate Fighter with Ronda Rousey and Misha Tate.
Wow. You guys remember that the old karate game where you used to put the quarters in and it'd say half point or full point? You remember that game? Oh my God.
I think so.
I wasted so many quarters in that game. I could have bought a new car with all the quarters I put in that game. I wasn't a big... What was that one? Ultimate Fighter? What was that called?
Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, Mortal Kombat.
Don't try that at home.
No, that one I was not as good at. But I love the little karate guy where he'd come out and he has a little flag and he'd go full point, half point.
He actually lived inside that game.
He did?
Yeah, there was actually a real guy that lived inside that game. So.
Man, that dude, he didn't eat much because he was tiny.
He just ate quarters.
Yeah, he just ate quarters. Well, that's why he took my quarters when I got. And then he was hungry 2 minutes later. But anyway.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I went there. But
that's the way it is.
Oh, please do. Go ahead, Brad. I've been waiting all night to use this rim shot with you, man. Come on.
Bring it.
Do it. Say it.
No. I have my limits. My wife is watching me. I got to do this.
Oh, like she hasn't seen worse.
Yeah, really.
Well, not on Skype.
No. Well, can I share it real quick, Brad? One thing before we get back to the stats, I've got to share this with Brad, or I will not. I won't live this down. And I tell Brad this every time I see him. The first time I met Brad, it was at Jeff and Dee Dee's house, and here he is halfway. He's got his makeup halfway on. He doesn't say hi. He doesn't say who are you. He doesn't say nice to meet you. He just leans over and he says, "Hey, what is the difference between a pregnant woman and a light bulb?" And I'm like, I don't know. He goes, "You can unscrew a light bulb." That's like my first meeting with Brad.
Nice. And it was all downhill from there.
And I knew
exactly.
I knew from that point where we were headed.
You got a souvenir cup I can use, Will?
No, stay away.
All right, I'm sorry. We were talking about stats. Mark, what do you got for the Seahawks stats? How are they looking?
Well, for our beloved Seahawks, we have offensively 26th in passing, 4th in rushing. Defense, first versus the pass, as usual, 13th versus the rush. Russell Wilson, still amazing numbers, 3,185 yards, 25 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions, 63% on completions. Marshawn Lynch, 1,160 yards, 4.2 a carry, 11 TDs. Wide receivers, Golden Tate, 769 yards, 4 touchdowns on 56 catches. Doug Baldwin, 778 yards, 5 TDs, 50 catches. And, a guy I've been overlooking all year, but he still has 5 touchdowns for the season is our own Zach Miller, and I never seem to include him. And it's interesting because he's, Russell Wilson spreads the ball around so much that, everyone's pretty close in terms of TD catches. And even though he is out this week, Jermaine Curse, 4 touchdowns this year. So there is the offensive side. Defensively, pretty much everything's the same. Averill 8 sacks and Bennett 7.5. Bobby Wagner, I guess, added to his with 1 last week, so he has 5 for the year. Sherman, with the 4 total interceptions against the Cardinals. Sherman had 2, and let's see, was it Cam? I forget were they to 3 different players? I don't remember, but we know that Sherman had 2, and he has 8 for the year. Earl Thomas is 5. We have 26 total interceptions for the defense as a team.
Wow. And
we are, number 7 in the NFL for points scored or points for with 390. We are second in the NFL, only behind the Carolina Panthers by 1 point for points against, with 222 surrendered all year. So
wow.
The defense is solid.
It
and we are plus 18 in giveaway takeaway, and I think we're tops there. So
and go ahead, Laura.
Oh, isn't that stat about, was it kickoff return yards? Is it kickoff return yards or punt return yards?
Punt return.
There was 20-something total yards or something?
Yes. I think we're at 20. Oh, geez, I forgot. Because they had a couple last week. They had 6 yards last week.
Yeah. What was the record?
49? Is that right?
Yeah.
So
the record. The record, I think you're right. The record's 49 and of all teams, so that's held by the Atlanta Falcons from 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah,
so,
that's been amazing. We're actually breaking records on special teams, which is fantastic. And 6 Pro Bowlers announced recently. That would be Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, Max Unger, Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, and Sherman. Of course, Richard Sherman, who should have been there last year, but let's not go into that story. Because we're not worried about the Pro Bowl anyway, because none of them will be playing because they'll be playing in the Super Bowl.
Exactly. But it's kind of nice to know that 3 out of 4 of the Legion of Boom are represented.
It sure is.
We got 3 alternates, too. Stephen Hauschka, Russell Okung, after missing half the season, and Golden Tate as punt returner.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
That's fantastic.
And so the deal this year, too, is that it's not going to be conference on conference. It's going to be like a scrimmage, or what's the deal with this? They're tweaking the Pro Bowl again, I hear.
Yeah, it's something about it's gonna be like a pickup game. They're gonna have 2 people pick teams and then they're gonna play, which it was unwatchable as it was, but for me, it's completely unwatchable now. When growing up, this was a big deal because it was the players voted on it, and it was an honor to be over there, and players wanted to go, and now it's just become a pickup game, and it just makes my stomach hurt thinking about it.
Well, I'm sure it's pick up all kinds of people over there. So.
It isn't the same now because way back in the day, I think Jack Lord used to do the coin flip, to open it. And it's not the same.
Maybe you should bring him back and do that. That'd be kind of cool.
That would flip it, Dano.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but once players started getting Mai Tais delivered to them in the huddle, it kind of went downhill from there.
That's the way I play football now.
Yeah, no doubt. That's how you play softball, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to have one hand open to hold your beer.
Hold your beer, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Older.
Will, you got any keys to this game? One key to the game for the Seahawks.
Key to the game. Stop Chris Long and Robert Quinn from wreaking havoc the way they did 2 months ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
We gave up 7 sacks in that game. Wilson was running for his life. Of course, we had 2 backups in there.
Right.
So we'll have our starters, although Okung's a little hobbled, but he's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
But we have, and, even last year in the game in Seattle, we gave up 6 sacks in that game also. So we've just got to do a better job of stopping the pass rush in this one.
Yeah, I agree. Mark, you got a key to the game?
Well, yeah, coming off the heels of our defense being on the field for, again, over 37 minutes, our offense, we got to win the time of possession battle. And really the field position battle really hurt us at the beginning of last week, too. It seemed like we were deep in our own end, for the entire first half. So it's just burn the clock and move the chains. And I'd love to see Russell Wilson just, give him the green light to run more.
Yeah, I agree.
And think less and just move the chains because I think, he's passed up a few first downs here and there. And at times, if we can just burn more clock, it just gives an offense like the Rams, which is already challenged, fewer opportunities.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
Well, thank you so much for the stats, man. We appreciate all the work you bring us every week. We are going to take a quick station identification. We're going to come back with some predictions, some prognostications, and yes, Brad, get ready. Which is bigger? Will be coming up soon, so get ready for that. We'll be back after this quick break.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
What does this song mean? My whole life, I don't know what this song means. I mean, should old acquaintance be forgot? Does that mean that we should forget old acquaintances? It doesn't mean that if we happen to forget them, we should remember them, which is not possible because we already forgot them.
Well, maybe it just means that we should remember that we forgot them or something.
And now, it's time for the fourth quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam. Here to lead us through the final quarter is once again our host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you again, Magic Voice of the 12th Man Fan Jam. We are in the final quarter of this week's show, and that usually means it's time to do our predictions, our prognostications. And 2-minute warning, we'll play our Which is Bigger game, which has become a big hit here. So, we want to do our predictions and our prognostications. We want to score from our panelists, and we also want something, a prognostication, something that's going to jump out on the stat sheet on Monday. For example, 4 INTs or 150 rushing yards or 3 touchdowns or 5 sacks or whatever. And we're going to start with our friend Will. And as we're doing this, I thought we might want a little ramming music in the background so we can ram it today. Will, do you have a score for us?
Oh, I don't know how I can follow that up. But
everybody wants to ram it. Let's ram it today.
Well, I'm going to say I got the score right last week. I just had the wrong game. I'm sticking with 24-13 Seahawks.
Good.
I think we bounce back for this one in a big way, and my prognostication is that Russell Wilson in particular bounces back in a big way with 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and 250 yards through the air. I think he's going to bounce back from a subpar performance last week and show everybody why he's been lighting the league on fire the rest of the year.
I like the way you think on all of that. Mark?
Yes.
Prediction and prognostication for us?
Yeah, I'm going to call this one 31-17 Seahawks. And I'm going to stick with the offensive side of the ball. And I think we will rebound like Will said. And I think we will be over 50% on third down conversions.
Ooh.
So, I mean, that's a hope as much as a prediction. But
love to see that.
And the over-under on Darrell Bevel's screen pass calls is 1. So we'll see if you could exceed that.
Oh,
take the under.
Nice. Yeah, I want to take the over on that. Laura, it's so great hearing from you.
It's been great. This is fun.
I'm glad you're having a good time. And you're smarter than Brad, we found out at halftime. So you got that going for you. You can brag about that all you want now. Brad, you're welcome. Laura, do you have a score and a prognostication for us?
I do. I'm going to go Seahawks 27-12.
All right.
27-12. And I'm going to say that our Seahawks secondary will get 2 pick sixes.
Ooh.
2 pick sixes.
I like it.
I do too. 2 pick sixes. All right.
Yeah.
And Brad.
Well, I'm going to go with a final score of 27-6.
All right.
That being 2 very long field goals by Mr. Legatron that plays for the Rams there. You also brought up a very key stat a while ago that Mr. Clemens, 7 touchdowns and 5 picks. My prognostication here is going to be that by the end of the game, that will be a lopsided total in the direction of more interceptions than touchdowns.
Ooh.
Because I don't think Mr. Clemens has really officially met the 12th man yet.
Do you want to put a number on that interception?
No, I'm just going to go with the he will have more interceptions than touchdowns for his final total.
Ooh, all right. INTs and TDs. I like that. And I will say, everyone's saying, oh, gosh, look out. They lost to the Cardinals, and the Rams are coming in. The Rams are a good team, and they're not a bad team. I mean, they're 7-8 for a reason. However, I would like to share with you the last 5. They are 2-3, but they're 2-5 on the road, guys. They're not that great on the road. And they're going to play a really tough road game in Seattle. So I think it's going to be a blowout. I'm going 34-13.
Perfect.
And I am going to go beast mode in my final game because I think beast mode is going to get 125 yards rushing. And just a lot of long punishing runs to just wear that team down, and where they get to third or fourth quarter. The Rams are going to be more worried about where they're spending their next couple of weeks on vacation than finishing this game. And that's the way I feel it's going to be. So I feel it's going to be close at halftime. Everyone's going to be worried. Uh-oh, here we go. And then it's just going to be a typical Seahawk game. In other words, it's going to be kind of close at halftime, but you get in the second half and they just wear you down for 4 quarters. Next thing you know, it's a 20-point game. And I think that's what's going to happen here.
Holy shit, it's a 2-minute warning.
So now we are on our 2-minute warning, and it's our time to play what's going to be Brad's favorite part of the evening, which is bigger.
As always.
Which is bigger. And last week I said, which is bigger, the penalties for the Seahawks or the other team, and that did not go well because it turned out being kind of a negative. So I don't want to be negative on this show. This is the last game of the regular season. I'm the reverend of Seahawk positivity. I want to stay positive. So here's what I want to know. Which number will be bigger? The amount of Rams sacks, the times that they're sacked, or the number of turnovers they're going to give up? Sacks or turnovers for the Rams? So, Will, which one is going to be bigger? The number of times we sack the Rams or the number of turnovers they give up?
Well, you had one of these a couple weeks ago, and I was thinking sacks.
And it worked well because it was the Giants, and we crushed them. So that's another reason why I use this, yeah.
But we did have more turnovers that time, and given, as my esteemed colleague Brad has pointed out, Kellen Clemens will be introduced to the sound and the fury of the 12th man.
Yes.
I don't think he's going to handle that too well.
No.
So this time I'm going to go turnovers, thereby ensuring we get more sacks.
Which I'll take either. So Will's going to go with the turnovers. Mark.
Yes.
What are your thoughts? Which is bigger? The Rams sacks or the Rams turnovers?
I think it's going to be turnovers as well. I think that I could just see Clemens and somehow, some way we'll manage to create turnovers in this game. And their offensive line, they've only given up 34. They're only giving up 2 sacks a game average, for their offense. So
all right.
I think turnovers.
All right. Laura, which is bigger?
Turnovers.
Turnovers.
Oh, yeah. I'm all about turnovers.
You're all about the turnovers.
I
love turnovers.
Yeah.
Apple turnovers? Oh, the best. Bradley?
Well, I cannot contradict myself because I actually made a pretty out there prediction about interceptions to touchdowns. So I've got to go with turnovers.
Okay. I am going to go against the grain just to be silly. Because I have a feeling with the crowd noise and the extra jump our defensive ends are going to get, and I think our defense is pretty upset because they haven't been able to really sack the quarterbacks as much this last couple weeks as they would like to. I think they take it out on Kellen Clemens. Also, I think Kellen's going to hold the ball later in the second half, hold it longer, try to make something happen, and that's when he's going to meet our wonderful defensive line that likes to get to the quarterback. And I'm going to definitely say there will be more sacks than turnovers. So that's
a lot of both would be great.
Well, we get a bunch of both. It would be fantastic. I hope this number is like 7-6. That's what
game from Irvin, especially.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Oh, was this fun? Did we have fun tonight? Is this fun show?
Yeah, absolutely.
What that?
This was a fun show. This is fun. It's fun and educational. Is it not?
Definitely.
We learned so much. We learned that...
Good yet good for you.
Yes, we learned that Laura knows Brad more than Brad knows Laura when I asked him questions in Top Secret.
Yep.
And we also learned that you should slow clap things out. We'd like to thank you all so much for making us part of your Seahawk tradition this week. And we want to thank all of our panelists. We want to thank Statsman. We want to thank Mark. We want to thank Shadowhawk Will. We want to thank Brad. We want to thank Laura for being on. Always great hearing you guys. Congratulations on your late October, November wedding. And many well wishes, as you know, as well as you out there listening. We hope you smiled a lot and you laughed a little. On behalf of the Positivity Pantless, this is your self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity saying, enjoy the game Sunday and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
And slow clap it out, people. There it is. We're in 3. Wait. Whoop. Something like that.
Just ram it.
Just ram it, everyone.